Welcome to the Markets and Leaders podcast, the only podcast where the suits are officially not allowed, the jargon gets kicked to the curb, and the conversations are as real as the markets we cover. Today, we're turning our attention to the gold mining scene in West Africa, a region that's quietly full of opportunity and surprises, and definitely not what most people think. Joining me to unpack the story, cut through the noise, and give us the insider perspective is Jared Scharf, CEO of Desert Gold Ventures, one of the companies making real moves in the Ivory Coast. Jared, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for leaving your suit at home.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I want to dive right into it. We do have a lot to cover, and my gosh, there's so much education that's still needed around West Africa for sure, and who better to bring that light into perspective for us than you, who has the boots on the ground?
Yeah.
So, when people hear mining in West Africa, there's usually a mix of curiosity and so much hesitation.
Sure.
Right? But the Ivory Coast, that's quietly become one of the most attractive places to go and take a look, and with that competitive jurisdiction in a gold space. So from your seat in the market, Jared, what do people still misunderstand about this region as a mining destination?
Yeah. I mean, great question. I think Ivory Coast and the region of West Africa in general is compelling because it's still vastly underexplored. Okay. And most mining camps where discoveries to the magnitude that have been found in Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, Mali, Senegal, would have seen vast more amounts of exploration. But because of some of the perception around perceived risk in the region and, logistical challenges and, timelines of like political issues and stuff,
Right.
Things just don't get developed as fast as they would have, say, if you had the same prospectivity in a place like Nevada, for example. So, we've been there since 2012. We got our first little piece of ground in Mali, and we had some other blocks in Senegal. So I think probably the perception, the way that I look at it is you have to go where the minerals are and where the opportunities are.
Absolutely.
And so if you have a belief that you can manage the politics and some of the other challenges on the ground, then you have to go where the opportunity is. And for me, when I look at some of the other parts of the world, it's where, say, maybe the perception of risk is less. All the easy stuff has been found, mostly. And so all the exploration and the major discoveries, they're going to tend to be found deeper. It's going to be a lot more expensive to explore. Yeah. And West Africa is one of the last places in the world where you can still make a multi-million ounce discovery at surface. I'll give you an example. At surface, yeah. I'll give you an example. So we just acquired a project in Côte d'Ivoire called Tegba. And it's a 300 square kilometer project. It was part of a larger claim block that was controlled by Newcrest going back some years ago. And Newcrest were one of the first movers into Côte d'Ivoire. They had tremendous success. They found a number of mines, brought them into production, and they're owned by different groups now. Allied Gold, being one of our neighbors, still owns one of the mines and still operates it close by. But they had so much ground, and they were finding so much that they didn't actually even have a chance to drill test all the opportunities that they found. Yeah. And I mean, you're hard pressed to find, a situation like that outside of places like West Africa. So, for example, on our property, there's a 5 kilometer long by 2.5 kilometer wide high tenor golden soil anomaly that was never drill tested. They just never got to it.
Wow.
It's just been sitting there. And when we looked at the data, we were like, well, we better go on the ground and stand on this thing to, make sure that it's real.
Yeah.
Because, with the right people, you can stand on an anomaly and in pretty quickly know if it's in situ, what we say in situ, or if it's real or not. And sure enough, it is. It's in place. The quality Newcrest work is very good. And so we're just going to go drill test it. If we make a new discovery in Ivory Coast, things are going to change in a hurry.
That's wild. So you've been boots on the ground for quite a bit there. Have you seen, what's the actually, what's the biggest shift that you've seen?
In terms of what? Shift in how?
In biggest shift, is it easier there now? Is it more? Is there more of a flow going? Is it still sort of, ramping up? Is it in full mode? What shifts have you seen over there?
Well, what I have observed about that region is some of the countries, they'll go through cycles.
Okay.
And in the case of Côte d'Ivoire right now, they're going through a very positive, constructive cycle. And they've got a well-functioning government, their mines ministry, their Department of Geology and Mines. They're processing applications quickly.
Okay.
They have the right people in place to evaluate applications, the viability of the management teams that are making applications. And so everything's just working well,
Okay.
And their mining code makes sense. It's they're leaving enough on the table to incentivize investment to come into the country for those investors.
Right.
And, let's not forget that exploration dollars are the riskiest types of dollars. Even with the perfect sort of regulatory framework, it's still very difficult to incentivize exploration dollars to come in.
It's just exploration.
Yeah, this is these are risky dollars that investors are coming up with. So they have to create as viable of a framework as possible to remove as many roadblocks as they can. And I think Côte d'Ivoire is doing a really good job of that. And, but if you look back in the country's history, even, 15, 20 years ago, they had their own challenges politically and some civil unrest. And, investors disappeared for quite some time.
Right.
But they've worked out that situation and things have come back and they're doing a great job. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of what Mali could think about using as a framework. When we started working in Mali back in 2012, it was one of the darlings of the investor space, right? Big M&A, Avion, Endeavor, $400 million, M&A, B2 acquiring Papillon, $600 million M&A, Avenel Gold, Endeavor. There was a lot of money being spent on exploration. There were big mines being commissioned, being upgraded, and so on. And the whole sector was like really chugging along and doing well. But, they've kind of, unfortunately, things have just gotten more challenging, right? And the permits aren't being processed as quickly as,
Right.
renewals. Basic administrative things just aren't functioning as well. So it creates delays, it creates uncertainty in the minds of investors. And
Of course.
so I'd really like to see Mali get back on track that way. And honestly, I think it is slowly starting to.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you is, do you see a light at the end of that tunnel
Oh,
starting
no,
to
for
form?
sure. For sure we do. If you look at some of the bigger guys in the space, the heavyweights, the Barracks, the B2s, the Allieds, they've all sorted out their issues with the new government and the latest iteration of the mining code. Mm-hmm. And so that's really positive for us, the smaller companies, because typically the bigger companies kind of set the tone, set the precedent, and that kind of trickles down into the rest of the sector.
Well, they're like the oldest sibling. They sort of break in the parents.
Yeah.
And then by the time it gets to like
Yeah.
the third child,
Yeah.
then, things are smooth sailing.
Yeah, yeah. And, the mineral endowment in Mali, the potential is, as far as I can see, is unparalleled in the region. Mm-hmm. So with the right framework, Mali could be experiencing a tremendous investment boom.
Well, with great reward, there's great risk. So that's simplified right there. I'm going to
Yeah.
talk about the sector level depth right now, okay?
Okay.
So if you zoom out for a second at the Ivory Coast as a whole, not just desert gold, but as a whole, what's the real opportunity here? Is it geological story? Is it policy story? Is it infrastructure story or timing story? Which one matters for most right now for investors who are trying to understand that African wave?
For Côte d'Ivoire,
For Côte d'Ivoire.
I think all of those things are working in Côte d'Ivoire's favor right now.
Amazing.
Good policy, great mining code, still incredibly underexplored. So tons of room for new discovery. I think you could see consolidation. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at Montage as kind of a framework, look how quickly, that they've been able to commission. It's a very large mine, and I think they're going to be in production this year, following their progress. But that can only be achieved when the government's working alongside you to bring a big mine like that online and do it in such an efficient way. So I think Côte d'Ivoire has just got a combination of it being still underexplored, still tons of opportunity for new discovery, with a supportive government, a stable framework. And, I've spent quite a lot of time in Côte d'Ivoire over the last 12 months. And when you're there, just the feeling you get is a feeling of optimism. There's infrastructure projects going on all over the place, new bridges, new buildings, new construction. And, we drove all around the sort of the interior of the country when we were evaluating projects and visiting our new project. And just the highway roads, I mean, you have really good access to anywhere you really want to go in the country. And even when you get off the paved highways onto the dirt roads, they're incredibly well maintained. All the villages have access to electricity. There's power throughout the whole country. Yeah. So, they've just done a really good job.
What's the feedback you're getting from communities there?
Well, that's a great question, and I think community relations is often like
it's undervalued.
It's undervalued. It's really important and really key.
Yeah.
And in Côte d'Ivoire in particular, there is a lot of commercial farming, subsistence farming, and so when you go into a community and you remember, we get a license that gives us mineral rights, right? It's not like just surface rights and we do whatever we want. So, we spend a lot of time engaging, you're given a framework by the government to follow, dealing with the sous-préfets, the préfets, and then the chief village, the chiefs of the village. Mm-hmm. And, you present your plan, you introduce yourselves. This is what we're going to do. Here's our licenses, here's our paperwork. And you listen. It's like a round table. You get feedback from everybody. So I think sometimes where companies might go wrong is they might just come in sort of bull in a china shop, steamroll a little bit, and you kind of forget, like, well, no, this is these people's homes.
Yeah, and their land.
And this is where they're from, and their land. And so you've got to, but once you set up that community framework, and then it just kind of gains momentum and builds on itself. And then everybody kind of knows everybody. Like in West Mali, where we've been for a long time, the villages in Barani, Kinyeba, they all know us. Oh, it's the Desert Gold guys.
Okay, great.
Because we've had permanent camps there for over 10 years.
Right.
And we engage with the community and we help where we can. Mm-hmm. But it's really important.
Are they a little bit more persuasive when you have the backing of the communities around? Are they persuasive with the governments there at all, or is it more they're very, very different?
No. What I've noticed with the governments there is that it tends to be more of a top-down approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's touch a little bit on geopolitics without making it the big show.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
So there's obviously a global layer to all of this right now, obviously.
Sure.
And geopolitics, they shift. Supply chain pressures shift.
Yeah.
Capital movement, that all, resource nationalism, all of that shifts.
Yeah.
So how does that macro picture actually filter down into real world decisions on the ground for mining companies operating in that region?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Loaded question.
I think the most important thing is that you go in with a framework.
Yeah.
And that you follow the rules and you do what you're going to do and you follow through on the commitments you make.
Yeah.
And that the party on the other side does the same. I think what mining companies don't like and investors don't like is when the rules of the game change in the middle of the game.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, we've seen a little bit of that at certain times in the region and that is what creates disruptions.
Do you see some sort of signs that maybe something may be shifting? Because on this end, from the investor's point of view, we don't hear about it till it actually happens. But maybe with boots on the grounds, you could see perhaps like, there's a shift in the wind, there's a shift in the air. I got to really just watch what's going to happen right now.
Yeah.
Any warning signs, really?
Warning signs about what though?
Like that policies or whatever may just automatically like just come in one day and be like, oh no, we've changed our mind, or no, this is going to change.
Oh
now.
yeah, no. I think the kind of hyperbole around full-on resource nationalism is completely unfounded.
Okay.
It's kind of sort of killing the golden goose, so to speak. And these governments can do a lot of things, but one thing they can't do are operate these mines. These are incredibly, especially these bigger mines. Like look at Barrick's Lulo mine as an example. This is an incredibly complicated asset, and there's only one company that's capable of operating that.
And that's the one that has it.
Yeah. So again, you might see at times political posturing around these types of things, but if you look at the track record going back even 25 plus years, have there been any actual full-on, resource nationalizing of resource that have gone on specifically to the region of West Africa? I can't think of any.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think that bit might be a bit overblown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's just do a little bit of an investor reality check then here.
Okay, sure.
For investors watching the mining sector from the outside, what's the difference between a good story and a real opportunity in a jurisdiction like Ivory Coast? And really, what should people actually be paying attention to beyond the headlines and the drill results?
Poof. How to identify a good story as an outside investor generally looking? Whenever a company
beyond the headlines.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whenever a company comes up with drill results, okay, because drill results matter.
Yep.
Assuming the QA/QC checks out,
okay,
right, which for most PLCs it does. You want to always look at it in the context of the potential for scale. So what I'm talking about is volume, tonnage, right? I mean, everyone knows about grade. People focus on grade, and grades, you need grade. But what you also want is volume, size. Okay. That's what's going to potentially get the bigger players interested in potentially your target. If you're looking at investing in an exploration company. So strike extent, try and think about it in terms of 3 dimensions when you look at drill results. Is it just one hole and is it just noise? Or, are you talking about a discovery that's multiple kilometers long, that has widths, that goes down to depth, that has the potential to be, a million to 2+ million ounce discovery? Because those are the things that they're going to move the needle.
What about away from headlines and away from the drill results? What should investors be looking out for? They're still missing.
What do you mean exactly?
Well, because, we can look at drill results for the rest of our lives if we really wanted to. And there's headlines coming out all the time. But there's got to be something more that investors are still missing that tells a better story than just what we see in the headlines or what we see in the drill results. Like, is it about management? Is it about...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, management is obviously a key. And you'll often hear that adage that management is the most important thing. I personally, my take is if the asset is no good, the best management team in the world isn't going to make a bad asset good.
Yeah.
But there may be a bit of confirmation bias because really good experienced management teams who've had success oftentimes get access to the best projects moving forward. They get access to the best investors, so they're always well capitalized because they have a demonstrated track record. So there might, there's a bit of confirmation bias there.
Yeah.
But it starts with the asset. You need a good asset, right? The other thing I would point out maybe is that I'd also focus on, the disclosure around true widths.
Tell us more about that.
Well, just when retail investors are looking at drill results, just always look at like the fine print.
The fine print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that if they're presenting drill results in terms of grade over width, that they're also talking about what they think the estimated true widths are.
Okay.
Because usually, drills they're coming in at an angle.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not coming straight down.
Well, sometimes they do vertical drilling. We try and stay away from vertical drilling, but you want to go perpendicular across the system and get a sense of just how wide and how robust it is.
Fair enough.
So if a company's not disclosing true widths, they should at least be saying true widths unknown. At least acknowledging the fact that they don't know yet. They need to do more work.
Okay, now, Jared, as you know, here on the Markets and Leaders, we are all about the raw. We're all about the real story.
Okay.
We're all about the laughs, the wit, all of that. So there is no episode of the Markets and Leaders without a good old game that's attached to it.
Okay.
Okay? Now, this is fast-paced. It's very hard instincts, and it's quick on the draw. Okay?
All right.
We're playing a good old game of truth or dare.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Ta-da! And yes, I mean, it works just like the classic game, except for there's a mining twist. Okay? So I'll give you a choice: truth, answer a tough question, but honest. Or dare, take on a challenge that's a little unconventional, but totally related to mining investing. Okay? There's no action. It's just bear with me.
Okay.
Bear with me here.
I got
okay?
you. Okay.
So, round 1.
All right.
Truth or dare?
Dare.
Dare. Pitch me a gold project in 15 seconds like it's the hottest stock on the market. Go.
So, our Tegba project in Côte d'Ivoire.
Okay,
Drill
tell me
test, potentially multi-million ounce discovery.
Okay, 15 seconds. There we go. Round 2, truth or dare?
Truth.
Truth. If you could change one thing about the investment climate in the Ivory Coast, what would it be and why?
Oh,
When you're put on the spot, it's tough.
I don't know if I change anything right now. I think they're getting everything right at the moment.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Okay, round 3, final round.
Okay.
Okay? Truth or dare?
Dare.
Give a one-line hot take that will surprise investors about the future of gold in the Ivory Coast.
Future of gold in the Ivory Coast.
Unstoppable.
You're gonna see probably a significant amount of M&A.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll see consolidation.
Okay. Now, do you see, I mean, much like what we see here in the Americas as well, is like a lot of those big companies, they're running out of places to explore and projects. So they're kind of leaning a little bit more on the miners. Do you see that a lot there too?
I would say that if you look at over the last cycle, right, or part of the cycle, let's maybe going back 10, 12 plus years, a lot of the majors underinvested in greenfield exploration. And they focused a lot of their time on mining and mining effectively. Sure, doing some brownfield, stuff proximal to their projects. But I think that underinvestment in exploration, greenfield, and testing new ideas and so on, is likely put them a little bit behind.
Okay.
And so that's why I think, as more liquidity comes into the sector and more exploration companies get capital to go test new ideas, the bigger companies with the balance sheets, will go after what they think is desirable for their.
And for every junior mining company out there, they're like, pick me.
And again,
pick me.
what I said matters. These majors are only interested in scale and size.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right. See, so we can play a game of truth and dare and still let it be insightful for investors. So thanks for playing.
Yeah, no problem.
No pressure. Thanks for joining us again, Jared, and do come back because I think that we could keep talking about this for hours and hours.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And that's a wrap on another episode of Markets and Leaders. No suits, no fluff, just real talk from the people shaping the markets and making moves where it matters. Big thanks to Jared Scharf for giving us the inside scoop on gold mining in the Ivory Coast. Hopefully you're walking away with insights, a few surprises, and maybe even a fun game idea for your next investor call. And now the fine print. These are the opinions of our own with possible vested interest in any or all of the companies we speak about. Always be sure to speak with a licensed financial advisor and know your own risk tolerances. This is not to be used as financial advice. For a copy of our complete disclaimer, head over to appeton.com. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk with Appeton Media. This is the Market and Leaders Podcast. Stay tuned because there's more episodes to come.